when we talk about budgeting, right? What kind of experience did you have? Stressful, yes.
Lots of meetings.
A lot of meetings. Yes. Yeah, for me also, budgeting first is like it's just a formality, right? This is once a year, it's November, we have to do it. And then the pressure comes and then to people like, okay, I'm busy. One of these things, what do I need to do? One more thing, right? And you kind of push it through until like, okay, deadline is coming, let's do it. And then you kind of, finish the work. And it's largely because a lot of times the budget is not even used. We can finish it once a year and then next year, okay, what's the use of this, right? And then that's because it's not useful. And like for me, if we do a budget, at least we should print the budget to actual reports every month to at least, to people who are at least like managers, right? A lot of time we don't do it. Why? Even if you give to them, they don't read it. And so there's not really management use. For me, if I do a budget, I really want to empower the managers. You make decisions based on a manager. Don't ask me. If you want to go to a conference like this one, okay, you just look at your budget. If there's a budget there, there's a balance there, just go, right? You don't need to ask for the CFO. So that's what a budget should be used for. Now, why? What do you think is why? Why this budget is not really useful?
Because we do the budget in October and it's outdated 2 months later and it's locked in for the year.
Yeah, exactly. It's not
Things
really
change.
not really relevant, right? Anything? Yeah.
Not
Why?
strong incentives tied to
No
it. Not
incentive.
strong incentives tied to it.
Yeah, there's no really like a tie to the budget with the compensation and with your performance results, right?
Well, and teams may have a strategy and incentive around not even submitting a realistic budget. So an organization basically next year's goals and their incentive compensation is based on budget, and there'll be some others. So you've got individuals within the business that their incentive is to keep that number as low as possible as far as what they're going to return to the group, so that they can beat that number and hit their max incentives. And so it's almost self-defeating in a way. And whatever you turn in, that your board is going to come back and they're going to say that's not good enough. And so it's more incentive to keep the number even lower because they know it's going to get raised upon, and it's a game.
Yeah. So the incentive is really.
It's a frustrating game.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work associated with it.
Yeah. So the incentive is actually in the negative side of it, rather than positively. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say the incentives are misaligned.
Yeah.
So project teams are incented to deliver on their projects.
Yes.
They want as much budget as possible
Yes.
to make sure that they can do that.
Yes. Yeah.
My biggest issue with budget is the accuracy of budget based on actuals,
Mm-hmm.
on historical data, and that's always a challenge for a company.
Yeah.
Which is so much on the accounting team to make sure that
Yeah.
you're putting it in the right buckets. And your budgets are not reliable, and you will always be not meeting the time budget just because your forecasting is wrong based on the wrong actual.
Yes. And a lot of times, we don't have the actual number, even historical number. It's chaotic, right? Even like different categories. People ask us, what does this, travel or consulting include? We can't even answer that. So that's how the situation is, right? So let's play some game. So first read this together. So in the beginning, it's difficult. Okay, you can read along. You will fall several times. Once learned, you will never forget. In the beginning, it's easier on flat road. Once skilled, it's more interesting and challenging on slopes. What are you getting? Confusing, right? What the hell are you talking about, Junho? Just random sentences, right?
It's a baby.
Huh?
It's a baby.
Okay, you can imagine, this is about a baby. Yes.
Bicycle.
bicycle, right? So, so now let's say bicycle, okay? In the beginning, it's difficult. You may fall several times. Once learned, you will never forget. In the beginning, it's easy on flat road. Once skilled, it's more interesting, challenging on slopes. Wow, bike, you're talking about bike. So what's the point? The point is the story is important. Our financial reports, our budget, are we telling the story? Are people grabbing? Is it even relevant? People feel like this is my story. This is tied to the company vision, to the milestones, right? Also you can say the context is more important than the content. And we just pile all the content to people and just kind of dump on people. They are just polite, they just don't tell you. Like, this is a budget I saw, okay? Like, okay, for accountants, it's in order. It's alphabetical order. We're so proud of ourselves, right? We're orderly people. We're accountants. But for people who are managing the business, like, what is that? It's crazy. So we just realign it like this. Okay, now like the CEO, my partner will look at it. Okay, that makes sense. We have half of the cost for the primary staff. Makes sense. And we have the consulting staff that's flexible, And resident services, okay, these are kind of given. You give and take, there's some flexibility if more people come. Admin, these are pretty much fixed costs of running this operation. Okay, so now my CEO will like, okay, thank you, finally, makes some sense, right? So simple things like that. We forget about simple things like that. That's like so simple. We are working with humans. So one story stream I like is value stream, value creation stream, because we want to help the CEO to accomplish goals, to create business. And if you look at every business has value streams, and I categorize in just 4 streams. Okay, very simple 4 streams. And each stream is about 4 or 5 activities, and you manage these activities. And these activities, you put some numbers in there, and I call them, needle movers. If you have an e-commerce, how many people visit you, right? So these, you manage it, and then finally the result will come. So I'll give example. The first one is always marketing and prospecting. Whatever kind of business you are, okay, even your manufacturing business, you need that. So for example, for us, we have this consulting business. Okay, we have online seminars, we have offline speaking, we have blogs, we have partnership with other professionals. So these we can create out, and then we can put some numbers behind it. Like, okay, put some numbers with some time and quantity and quality, right, and customer feedback. So online seminars, okay, I'm gonna do it every Thursday night, 7 o'clock Pacific time, and so once a week for every time, and about 45 minutes, and then leave 15 minutes for conversations like that, right? You can keep track of that easily, offline speaking, whatever opportunities comes, you put some numbers, you put some time there, you can keep track of it. Okay. So one thing we also want to know is we accountants, we're so used to just financial, like everything with a dollar we get excited. Without dollar, it's not relevant to me. It's important. Now we are CFOs. We're the business person. Okay, we are the co-pilot of the CEO, right? So we really need to think marketing, think business. These needle movers, these non-financial numbers will generate the actual financials. We really need to be comfortable with that. We can't say like, this is not my job. No, this is my job. It's important. So the second one is customer acquisition. Now, marketing and sales, we can call sales, right? More specific, customer acquisition. These are 2 different things. Okay, marketing is important. You always need to do marketing. Really get the words out. And then the acquisition, a lot of time it's one-on-one, and that's very important. And these, a lot of time takes same skill, but a lot of time it's different skill. Okay, it's important, so I separate them. So, for example, this one, I have these activities: one-on-one enrollment in person, Zoom enrollment, online sign up, right? And then customer service delivery, whether service or product, in manufacturing is manufacturing. That's the core of the business. It's important. It's important. Now, Peter Drucker says business is about marketing and innovation. So I put marketing, like two streams, two steps as marketing and customer service. It's so important. Business is really about that. Right? If you look at Apple, it's just the innovation and the marketing, and then all the manufacturing, they just outsource everything. So that's a business. So customer delivery service, like for us consulting, you have the direct workers and then you have the project managers. And then here, you want to tie all these numbers with their performance and with their compensation. We have marketing 30% of the revenue, the service delivery for the direct worker. So first the service delivery is 30%, and for the direct worker, it's 25%, and then manager 5%, like that. You want to tie these together so people are motivated. They are working for themselves in a way. Yeah, it's important. The previous gentleman mentioned, it's not tied to the compensation. What's the point of the budget? Now they care. It's important. So then you have the customer support. And then the last but not least, the back office support. Every company has that, right? So, and this is an example of a budget based on value stream. You have the customer acquisition, and I purposely put it really thinking, the revenue and the expense should be on one place and one value stream. And revenue is really the function of marketing and customer acquisition. So the top numbers are the revenue, and then the expenses are just put into negative numbers. So all of these together, and then you have the percentage of revenue, every expense. Now you watch yourself, okay, if we're not getting enough customers, look at this. Oh, we're not putting enough the selling activity is missing. Right? So there's a percentage there, and then okay, if the manufacturing cost is too high, we need to look at that. So that way you can look. And then also, I separate on the horizontal, I separate into different business lines. And all of these can be programmed in your software, in QuickBooks or SAP, whatever it is, you can put it into that. So then you can hold accountable your business department manager, you can measure them, and you can tie their compensation, right? So with that said, I want to say the order of thinking. We a lot of times focus on the tools, the systems, but what we want to do is always think the first principle, the assumptions. So in this case, the story, that's more important than anything else. So the story is your vision, your milestones, and then how you create value in a society with these 4 steps of value streams, right? So that's always a fundamental, and then this way you can easily convey the story to everybody. Everybody get it. That's our business, right? So that's important. And then you want to create actions and habits and the strategies. How to accomplish that? Okay, are we going to do more online marketing? Are we going to do seminars? Are we going to partner with speak at professional associations? You have the strategies how to deal with it, and then you create action and habits and put it on your calendar, and whether it's weekly meeting or whatever. And then none of these things will happen if you don't put it into system, put it into tools. You must systemize, put in all the systems, the tools, infrastructures, and then monitor it. Not once a month, that's too late. I say once a week for sure. You need to monitor because things are changing. You need to monitor and progressively do it. So really the leadership magic is in order to have the vision, you need to you can tell the story, and then the foundation is really the chart of accounts. If you really think about that, everything comes from the chart of account. Right? We accountants, we understand all the reports come from the chart of account. In the chart of account, you designed it in a we call multi-dimensional, not linear way. So multi-dimensional is you have, in this case, I separate it into 3 categories, and you can put it into 4 or 5 dimensions. Depends on software. Like in QuickBooks, at least you can do 3. So one is account level, one is the business line. You can service 1, service 2, and then the accountability, department 1, department B, and then you can assign accountability, right, for these. So for example, this is our consulting business. I just quickly drafted this. You can have the revenue, the sales, and then you have the service delivery, you have the back office support that's related to business or the common, and then you have the businesses, service A, service B, service C, and then you have combined all together, the percentage, and then you can put it into these into systems, and then you can create an actual budget easily, very clean. So if you want to print for service A for that department, you don't confuse him with all the other numbers. Just give him that department, that report, by service A. Yeah, so another thing is, so when people ask me on the board of director meeting, okay, what does this consulting mean? I don't answer them, what does this consulting mean? I say, okay, let's look at this board package. There's one sheet. There's one sheet, it's called, this is chart of account. We're organized. Okay, consulting outside services. Okay, all of these are consulting. Okay, we include these services. Okay, now do you want more detail? Okay, I have a report with the second page is a detail level. There's this consulting service, there's an accounting service, all of these, right? Now you have more information. Okay, consulting what these are. Okay, I can even print you by GL and I can print you by vendor, right? Now and by whatever service. So this is important. Why? You need it to be detailed. Why? Because your line person, your bookkeeper, he likes detail. He does not like judgment. You like, okay, you make the call, you make a judgment. That's difficult for him. Okay. His job, you hired him because he's very accurate. Okay, make him do accurate work. These are exactly where it is. Okay, you can just put it into there. Workers' compensation. That's workers' compensation. Don't do it just employee benefit. That's too big. So you want detail, and then you have a higher level, category level, so that you can print summary reports, okay, for your executives. And for people who want detail, I have the detail report. So it's very important you define all of these, like really define to the T. But you're not afraid of too detailed because you always have a category level. Okay, so really, really define that. That's my experience. I can tell you this, like that lady was saying, like, even the numbers from last year is not really accurate because we don't know where to put it. We put here, put there, and when people ask, it's like, oh, I even don't know. What? Yeah, that seems like too out of range. That's because our bookkeeping is mess. And then also, we all need to file tax return, right? And then you want to design the report also able to map it to the tax forms, so that if something audit happen, okay, it's all these there. So whatever you call here, okay, on your tax return, whether it's the 1110 or 1120, 1120S, 990, you can match them. Okay, so you try to define these. So these are foundational work, the chart of account. Like make your chart of account so solid and so no need for explanation. And then it matches everywhere, okay? And that's our foundational work. We really needed to do that. With that, then you can build on KPI, and then you can build on, whatever reports. And this one is like Monday morning reports, right, for an e-commerce business. You need to calculate like a customer visit, all of these things, and the cost. There's a CPV called the cost per visit, right? So you need to put these numbers from your email marketing system, from your other systems, all of these. And I use this. I'm just learning. A colleague of mine developed this software called the Weekly Accounting, and they just plug it into my QuickBooks, and then it will generate reports like that. I love it, and it's every morning you see something, and now you can compare, and now you see what's missing, so you can manage the needle movers and manage the KPIs that way. Okay, so really, in conclusion, this is the model, right? We want to help the CEO to fulfill the vision, implement the vision, and then it's important that we create, SOPs and cultures, be aware. If you create stock options or incentives, not only incentivize the department head for their result, but also have some compensation tied to the entire company's goals, KPIs, right? So that they don't build, silos or mountains, and so they work together. So you create a culture that's all together, right? And then the story of your, budget is a part of the culture. You involve everybody. Like I go talk to the department heads, and I listen to them. I'm like a journalist, listen to them, and then right now using their language. This is how they talk about it. Okay, use their language. And then they see it, the reports. Okay, it's their language. They understand it. And then, of course, in the roles and responsibility, all of these things you build into the system. And then really, our job is the needle movers and key KPIs. That's what we keep track of. And the foundation is always a story-based chart of account. Okay, that's like so much, I wish my professor taught to me in college, but eventually I just had to go through all these then you eventually figure out this is so important. It's a foundational work.